Ett varumärke som jag själv verkligen ser upp till och beundrar är Oneflow. Deras marknadsföring och branding är verkligen on point. Och därför är jag extra glad idag att kunna presentera Ling, deras Chief of Brand, upp på scen. Och hennes session kommer vara på engelska, så därför kommer vi nu switcha språket från svenska till engelska. Ling, welcome to the stage. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Antonia.
Thank you.
I love your outfit.
Thank you, and likewise.
Because that's on brand.
right? I was like,
I've
the
been thinking
nails
about
and
that.
everything.
Absolutely.
Perfect. But first, could I ask you, for the audience out there, who are you and who are Oneflow? Like, what do you do?
Yes, so my name is Ling Koay, and I'm the Chief of Brand of Oneflow. And Oneflow is the contract automation platform. We help people to get their contract signed.
Super simple, and we are actually using you, so
Awesome.
I can vouch for that. It actually works.
Love it.
Super simple.
Love it.
Great, but I still want to ask you one more question before you actually get started with your session. So you are a branding superstar, a branding expert.
If you may say so. Thank you.
You are indeed. So I want to ask you, could you name or like drop one of the key challenges when it comes to building a brand or developing a brand?
Absolutely. I think the biggest challenge is to get everyone's time to be on board of building the brand. And also, once you've done it one time, when is it that you want to refresh? When is it that you want to update? So there's a lot of decisions to be made that involve a lot of stakeholders. So I think that is one of the challenges to get everybody on board.
Indeed, as a CMO, I recognize that challenge, though.
Yeah.
But I'm super happy that you're here. I'm gonna listen super carefully behind the camera here, and yeah, good luck, and the stage is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm really happy to be here. So thank you so much for having me. And today I'm going to talk about how not to be forgotten at B2B events. I'm going to start with a quick slide about Oneflow, of course. Oneflow makes contracts magic. We're founded 10 years ago. More than 10 years ago. And then just a couple of years ago, we were publicly listed in Stockholm's NASDAQ. And we have more than 150 employees in 7 countries and customers in more than 40 countries. I'm going to start by saying I don't believe in booths. Because I really believe that just because you bought and you paid for the biggest booth at a B2B event, it doesn't mean that you also bought the biggest space in your audience mind. And this number shows you something. Do you know what these numbers are? These are what created on the internet in a minute. 20 new websites are created in a minute. More than 500,000 of queries are entered into ChatGPT in a minute. That's a lot of content out there. So attention is really, really scarce. And one more, in the B2B world today, the competition are getting even tougher because of the pace of innovation. You have new tools coming up every week, every day, and we're all competing with the same audience. You see here, this is Oneflow in many of the competitors that we're competing with. So we live in a world where winning the battle of attention is really the bread and butter of all marketeers. And not only at the beginning of the journey, really, when you think about winning the battle of attention, do you think about just the awareness stage, the acquisition stage, but it's really all throughout the customer journey. Once you lost their attention, you're gone. The low switching costs and just the lack of loyalty in general, especially within B2B SaaS, means that if you lose their attention, you're gonna churn. So in my point of view, competing for attention at events is no different. It's all about winning the battle of attention. And you think about event, to be honest, we've seen it all, especially those who were born in the 80s like myself. You've seen it all. You've heard all the advice. Roll-ups, don't put anything below the eye level because nobody will read anything below eye level. You're going to put your screen on the booths. You're going to make sure you give out free stuff because people love free stuff. And you're going to make sure that you put all your value propositions on the walls as well. And they all look the same. I just Google, best practice of event design, and these come up. And why do you think they're all the same? Well, because they're decisions made by committee. Marketing, we love to involve our stakeholders. We love to involve people in our decisions. And ultimately, we're making decisions based on committee. It's a good feeling to have support. But really, you're going to end up looking average. So this leads to my first tip of the day. I only have 3 tips today. So my first tip, how not to be forgotten at the B2B event, is do not make decisions by committee. Because what happened is that you're going to get watered-down outcome, average design. Everyone thinks the same. There's this author, Haruki Murakami, is one of my favorite authors. He said, if you read the same book as everyone else, you're thinking the same thing as everyone else. Give a weak impression. At B2B events, you just kind of have 5 seconds to give that amazing first impression. And now you look like everyone else, you're going to leave 0 first impression. And of course, ultimately, you're going to forget what your intention was in the beginning. So events are super expensive, especially if you want to sponsor trade shows or present yourself at a conference, etc. They're super expensive. And if you think about everyone else and worried about everybody else's opinions and input and trying to make decisions to get support from your stakeholders, you're going to forget why you're there in the first place, which leads to my tip number 2, and that is to be intentional. Really, I've learned this the hard way. Where marketing go wrong with events is really they forget about the goals. You spend a lot of money on the investment. How are you going to get the money back? And this is about thinking, how are you going to be measured? How are you going to be getting those investment back? Is it through meetings booked? New members to your community? Is it to generate brand awareness for your new product launch? Or is it part of your retention strategies? Making sure that your goals are transparent and aligned across the stakeholders is one of the key success factors of your event being successful. And I've learned this the hard way. I know this. And nowadays, when we start with event, we want to make sure that all the goals are clearly communicated to the entire team and making sure that the actions that they take contribute to your goals. So that's the second tip. Don't make decisions by committee. Be intentional with your goals, with event. And my last tip is to dare to state your point of view. Did you think I'm going to say brand? No, because what I think a lot of people are saying, be bold, be different, be courageous to be different. I don't think that's enough. I think what really matters with brand is that you dare to state your point of view. And your point of view simply means that how are you solving the problems that your competitors are also solving, but you're doing it in a better way? At least that's what you think you're doing in a better way. How are you improving how they're used to working? So in a sense, your point of view is really the way your brand communicates consistently and courageously. So dare to state your point of view. And I'm going to give you an example of how we do it at Oneflow. So at Oneflow, we know 3 things. 1, when you think about contracts, what do you think? That they're messy, they're lengthy, they're wordy, they're complex. All these negative associations are always come up in your mind when you think about contracts. Which is why, in our brand, we try to show the opposite, because we know that we can transform complex to simple and light and easy. So with visual choices and word choices, we try to make contracts feel light and easy. The second thing is that we know that contracts platform is asking, we have a contract platform and we're asking our customers to share the most sensitive documents with us. And so in our brand, we communicate trust in a sense that we don't use stock photos, We want to make sure that our visual is giving out signals that this is a brand you can trust. And thirdly, we're building an innovative product, and maybe it's ahead of time. A lot of people choose to still sign their contracts through paper or in a static document. And we're telling people to build the contracts in their browser. So it's kind of an innovative step to take. And maybe it's also ahead of time. And so with the visual cues and with the choices that we make with our word and our visuals, we're showing you something new, something you haven't seen before, which reflects how we want our product to perceive. And so 5 things to think about next time when you plan for an event. Attention is scarce. Events are expensive. So don't make decisions by committee. Be intentional with your goals. Communicate your goals from the very beginning. And last but not least, dare to state your point of view. Thank you so much. Please tag me on LinkedIn with your key takeaways, and I hope you enjoy the presentation.